This is a Voyescape podcast. You can find all of our travel podcasts from around the world at voyescape.com.
Welcome, everyone, to this bonus episode of Travel in 10. And for this episode, we are talking about something that I actually know nothing about. It is a country I love. We're talking about Thailand, but we're going to talk about a very exciting festival that I have not attended, but I know my friend David Brody recently attended this festival. And David, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you this week, Tim?
Good. Really, really good. Really good. So Tell us the name of this festival, and maybe just walk us back to first learning about it and how you ended up there.
For sure. So the first time I went to the festival we're going to talk about was probably about almost 15 years ago now. And I'll maybe just briefly tell you the story, and then we'll get into what it was. But my wife and I were at a Thai restaurant in Ottawa, where we were living at the time. We started talking to the waiter, and we both were kind of thinking we wanted to go do some travel. We had a big trip booked to Costa Rica that was going to cost us a lot of money, that we were going for 3 or 4 weeks to Costa Rica, to some of the national parks and stuff there. And as we started talking to this waiter at the Thai restaurant, he mentioned this upcoming New Year's festival that was happening in Thailand called Songkran. This is the annual sort of New Year festival they have there. And he was telling us that it's essentially the world's biggest water fight, where everybody in the country gets water guns, water gear, and when you go to the temples, they pour a little bit of water over your hands or over your head, and sort of a purification ritual. But the streets turn into this huge street party for multiple days, and this massive water fight. As he was telling us more and more about the festival, we were thinking more about our trip to Costa Rica and how much it was going to cost us in coming weeks. Over the course of that dinner, we decided to cancel our trip to Costa Rica, put all of our stuff in storage, and go traveling for a year. And the Songkran Festival was the first thing that we were going to go hit. So we left about 2 weeks later and made it to the Songkran Festival.
I love stories like that. I love how one person you meet up with on the road, one comment, the fact that he just thought to mention that changed your whole life, right? So you make a complete change. You fly to Thailand. Not a short journey. You get there. Tell me about arriving at the festival, first impressions. What was it like?
For sure. So the first time we went, we arrived and we were staying at the Westin, which was quite a ways from the main center of the celebrations. A lot of it happens around the Royal Palace, around Wat Po, that area, and on Khao San Road, very well known as sort of the big backpacker budget hotel part of the city. And so we arrived at Westin, we jumped into a tuk-tuk, and we asked our tuk-tuk driver to take us. And the first guy just looked at us. He's like, no, I'm not going there. If you want to go there, you're going to have to find another driver. We did find another driver who was soaking wet, and we're like, oh, that's clearly our guy. And
he just got back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's like, absolutely, I will take you, but make sure you don't have, put your camera away somewhere that it's not going to get wet, and let's go. And we start driving through the city, and even as you're, getting closer, we get about, we're still a good 10, 15-minute drive away, but we start to hit some of the local celebrations. There was a group of Thai people standing by the roadside with garbage pails filled with water and just dumping them over the top of our tuk-tuk as we arrived. Guys with water guns everywhere you look, sort of spraying you down with water as you go. Then we arrived into Khao San Road, and it was literally, must have been 400,000, 500,000 people, if not more, just jam-packed, wall-to-wall, this massive, water fight happening, everybody celebrating. But then, as that was happening, the Thai king, and the king's very revered in Thailand, decided to come make a sort of parade appearance through the area. And suddenly, the entire party went dead silent for literally everybody on the street, heads bowed, silent. The king's motorcade came by and silent for a few more seconds, a respectful amount of time afterwards, and then everything erupted again right after that, and just a huge celebration.
Wow, incredible! And Thailand is a hot, steamy country. I can see how they would form a festival around splashing and being cool. But I know we were talking about this before, that it's not just about a party, it's not just about having fun, that there really is a cultural aspect to this as well, right?
Absolutely. I mean, it is a huge part of Thai culture. This is their New Year celebration. It is a purification ritual. So you'll certainly see, in addition to the celebrations that are happening on the streets, any of the wats, the Buddhist temples throughout the city, have regular events happening, cultural dances, performances, music, and all related to the water aspects of the festival as well, where different purification rituals happening in each of the temples, where you go and have water poured over your head or your hands, and then they often have little sort of pop-up markets happening at the festivals as well. As I say, the first time I went was about 15 years ago now, and I went back this year when I happened to be passing through Southeast Asia on the way to a conference, and managed to line it up so that I was in Bangkok again during Songkran. It lasts, I believe, typically it lasts about a week, but this year, because it had been declared by UNESCO as a World Heritage event, the celebrations were amped up even more. I mean, I think they officially declared it as a 2-week festival rather than a 1-week festival. And where normally a lot of the celebrations would be around that sort of Royal Palace, Khao San Road area, instead there were 15, 20 sites throughout the city where they had, live bands constantly playing, just non-stop party event happening throughout that full 2 weeks. And it's not just Bangkok either. It's every major city throughout Thailand, and a number of the neighboring countries celebrate it as well. So all throughout the region, you can find various different Songkran festivals. It happens in, early in April,
which I think is one of the hottest months actually in
absolutely
in Thailand. So it makes sense. Yeah. So any final thoughts? Anything you want to share before we sign off on the bonus episode?
Well, I would just say if you are going to go, definitely plan ahead a little bit, because it is a busy time for a lot of the Thais themselves on a holiday during Songkran. So a lot of people moving around the country. So for domestic flights, for trains, things like that, definitely book out a little bit earlier than they typically would. Hotels, you're going to find hotels for sure, but they again book up a little bit earlier, and really just going online and looking at, where the different celebrations are. Chiang Mai up in northern Thailand, I know, has a huge celebration during the festival as well. Phuket is a big center of the celebrations. But I think if you really want to see the quintessential version of it, there's probably no better place to do that than Bangkok, and right in that historical center of Bangkok to get.
Absolutely. Well, it's on my list now. I go to Thailand quite a bit. I love Southeast Asia in general, and we talked about it in this week's episode on Bangkok, how much both of us love that city. So now this is on my list of festivals to attend in the world. So thank you so much, David, for sharing your insights. It's been great to chat about the festival, and join us next week on our next episode of Travel in 10.
Thanks, Tim. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, David.